Okay, we look good.
Good. Okay, so we do have two options. Is we can look at hiring Phoenix Emergency Management Logic for a contract this evening, or we can put it out for proposals. Or if council wants time to think about it, we can also bring it to the next council agenda. But I basically have a blank amount of years and a blank amount of money for Jeff's services. And then also if we do want to put a call out and look for other options. So it's really council's wishes tonight, and I'll turn it over if there's any opinions or thoughts.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Councilor Despatie.
Are we covered right now?
I'll go through the CEO to that.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Chair. We are still compliant with not a CEMC at this moment, but we have to have one appointed before the end of the year to be compliant. And we haven't done our tabletop exercise or any training yet this year. So technically, yes, but not really.
Not really. As it stands now, if you continue forward to December 31st, you will get a letter from the province in the new year saying that you are non-compliant because you don't have a CEMC now by December 31st, and you didn't do your training and exercise.
That answers my question. Thank you.
And if it's, I'm more than willing to step out for you guys to talk amongst yourselves. I don't want to make it awkward for anyone by
I'm okay with you staying.
Councilor Gingras.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I am definitely okay with the remainder of 2022 to and ensuring compliance. And I'm okay with the full services too. So that would be my opinion at this point, the remainder of the year and then the full services starting in 2023. Thank you.
Councilor Bourrier.
I'm in full agreement with Councillor Gingras. I feel that with the explosives plant coming to Nairn, we really should get the full bang for our buck. Sorry, I'm stronger than I am. But I really think that we should look at that as a serious option. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
I agree with Councilor Davis.
We're all in
Okay.
agreement.
Okay. So I'll just verify with the CEO that was the amount of $5,000, or Jeff, I believe.
Yeah, and I would confirm with him that it's 12,000 for 2023. So
Yes.
then we're looking at 5,000 for this year and 12 for next year, which would be included in the budget.
Okay. So do we want to pass for next year as well, or just for 2022 then?
I think that would be a good idea since it may be a new council.
So just 2022 then, yeah. Or the whole to 2023.
That
Okay.
would be my recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any thoughts on that then?
I'll move to accept that recommendation.
Okay. And someone to second that?
I'll second it.
Ron. And so the total amount, just to confirm with the CEO, would be 17,000.
For you, Mr. Chair, yes, that's correct.
So moved by Councilor Despatie, seconded by Councilor McDonald, that council accepts the proposal from Phoenix Emergency Management Logic for the contract of CEMC services for the years 2022 and 2023 in the amount of $17,000. And further, that council directs that a bylaw be presented at the next meeting to appoint the CEMC for the township. All in favor? And that motion carries.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Welcome to the team.
Yes, thank you for having me. I look forward to it. My next step will be I'll contact you, CEO, and move forward on making sure the province knows I'm the CEMC, and then also I'll put out the invitation. If council wants me to come in and train them anytime, by all means, I'm more than willing to provide training. I do it. I've trained all my other councils that I deal with, so let me know. Set up a time with CAO, and I'm more than willing to come in during the day, during the evening, doesn't matter to me. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to 3B now. Amy Mazie, Chair of the Community Parks and Recreation Committee, to provide an update regarding recreation activities. Amy.
Hi,
Hi.
I just wanted to give you the update that we got the garden boxes finished. The soil was too heavy, so we actually had to chop the legs off. Yeah, Mr. Wigzell was nice enough to do that. It's fine. They're still raised enough that it's nicer than gardening in the ground. We just had a lot of rain early this spring, which just made it harder. Like the soil was literally really heavy. Everyone's planted in it. We kind of have the beginning of a setup of a rain barrel over there. Derek has been good enough to do that for us. And Reed Wigzell, her husband actually chopped the legs off, where I thought I had to go get out a skill saw, and I came over and they were already done. So I was pretty happy to see that. And Connie Neuron has helped a lot with that as well. All hanging baskets and hooks are out. We are waiting on approval. Everything is submitted to Hydro One for the approval. We just have to have a scheduled site. We have to have a guy come out and look at the poles, literally. So I think it's around August 2nd that he comes out. It's later than I want, but not much we can do about it. So the application process is all complete. Thursdays at 4 are going really well. That's when we meet with, we actually have a lot of 14, 15-year-old kids and younger. So there's probably like 7 to 14, 15. And I was ready to stop doing it this summer. I thought kids would be going to camp, but there was a new group that showed up and just thought it was the best thing ever that there were things going on in Nairn. And they were like, no, let's do it all Thursday afternoon. So we're gonna give that a whirl and see if we get the kids out. You know, anyway, they're pretty excited about it. They'll play pickleball, basketball, any kind of games, and even things like puzzles and Scrabble. And I mean, I don't think everyone is playing these things at home. Like, it's like they're learning new things. So it's all good. They're not excited about the library books, which I do encourage them to look at. But I mean, all in good time, right? So I keep just, hey, there's some classic books here. But anyway, they'll catch on eventually. The rink is actually making money. We open up the rink shack. Of course, we have it when the ice is out, but we've just kept doing it just on Thursdays. We're actually making a little bit of money. I mean, granola bars are 25 cents, but I don't know how. We're still making a little bit of money. They want me to start selling them ice cream. So we're going to get prepackaged, you know, ice cream. Anyway, it'll be exciting. They'll be thrilled with it. And we're looking at, we haven't quite decided, but we'd like to get a container for the pickleball, nets and basketballs, and we're just looking at the details of that. So coming soon, hopefully, then people can come after hours. Like if we put them in the town office, you would only be able to have access during the day. So we want people to access equipment on after hours, right? So we're trying to set that up. And I just have a funny question. I wondered what council might think about getting a piano. There's many pianos that are free. And I wondered, someone said that there used to be one in the hall. Am I allowed to ask questions like this? I don't know. I think it's a great idea, but I play the piano, so I didn't know if anybody else would be interested. Christmas carols, I don't know.
Go ahead, Councillor Bourrier. I think you had your hand up first.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. It would be fun and yeah, a good draw for the kids and you know, yeah, it's a really good idea.
People are getting rid of them because, you know, they're on for free. So I'm like, that would be fun. So, and that's all I have. So going forward, I think we have an event in October for the kids and for the adults.
Councillor Shingra.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Absolutely, I'm in favor of the piano. I play, I'll do a duet with you in the meantime. You can teach the
Then we need 2 pianos.
Will have to. Also, I just had a question about the Worthington area. A couple of people came to me because I work out there and said there was a euchre tournament in Nairn and we didn't know about it until it was an hour before the tournament. So I was wondering if we were going to do euchre on a regular basis, and if we were, if we could do flyers in Worthington. Oh,
Or Beaver Lane.
but if we could, you know, spread the word. Yes.
So we did try to spread the word. It
Yes.
does cost money.
Yes.
So I brought the flyers to the mailbox.
Yes.
But you're right, we didn't pay the extra $30 to
Yes.
actually distribute them to everyone. We missed a rec meeting because I had a fire call.
Mhm.
So we missed that just last Monday. And that was one thing. There are people that say in town, they would come to a regular euchre night.
Yes.
We need someone who's willing to
To run
kind
it.
of be the rec person, you know? So that would
Okay.
be the next thing, but yeah, so if you've heard that and I've heard that, then I think we
Okay.
should do
Excellent.
something about it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's great. Keep up the great work, Amy.
Thanks.
Yeah, all good. If there's anything else, gone.
Does she need a motion to get a piano?
I think maybe it would be better a motion in our committee, and then we can go from there, maybe. I think that sounds good. Okay, so we'll go to number 4, discussions arising from previous council minutes. Is there any? That would be June 7th and June 13th.
I have none. I have none.
Okay, so I'll just ask Councillor Gingras, will you move to approve them?
I would rather not, Mr. Chair. I was absent. I don't like approving them.
Okay,
thank you.
Councillor Bourrier, a first on that then,
Yes.
and Councillor Despatie, a second.
Okay.
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor Despatie. Resolved that the following council minutes be accepted as presented. A, special council meeting minutes, June 17th, 2022, and B, regular council meeting minutes, June 13th, 2022. All in favor? And that carries. Okay, moving now on to 6, minutes and reports. This is just to note the minutes and reports as received. Councillor McDonald, the first.
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier, second. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Bourrier. Resolved that the following minutes and reports 6A to K are noted as received. Public Health Sudbury District unapproved meeting minutes, July 16th. B, Township of Nairn and Hyman opening minutes, June 23rd, 2022, regarding Integrity Commissioner Services. C, Office of the Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report / Decision, contravention of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's Code of Conduct complaint regarding Councillor Brigida Gingras. D, CEO's Report number 2022-23 regarding restricted acts of council after nomination day, lame duck provisions. E, CEO's Report number 2022-23 RFP submissions for Integrity Commissioner Services. F, CEO's Report number 2022-25 update in investing in Canada infrastructure green stream funding transfer payment agreement. G, CEO Report number 2022-26 retirement of Wayne Ashton, Community Emergency Management Coordinator. H, CEO's Report number 2022-27 municipal office closure on July 12th, 2022. CEO's report number 2022-28, animal control draft bylaw. J, CEO's report number 2022-29, update to human resource bylaw and policies. And K, municipal superintendent's report, July 5th, 2022. And that's just to receive them. All in favor? Carried. We don't have any motions on 6A, but if there's any comments, I don't think so. 6B, I might have these. No, nothing on 6B. If there's any comments on that, we will get to it. I believe at 6E, there is a motion for that, but 6C, Office of the Integrity Commissioner's report on Councillor Gingras. Is there any comments on that now that you've read the report and have read the recommendations? Is there any comments on 6C?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why do we pay those commissioners big bucks and then they make us do the dirty deed of punishing our peers? It's just a question that I have. If anybody knows the answer.
I don't know the answer, but it's part of the job.
Yeah.
It's our community. It's a council member.
Councillor Boyer?
It's my opinion that Councillor Gingras was not intentionally contravening the codes, although she did. I don't believe that she should be penalized monetarily. I do agree with the training should be mandatory, and I think it should have been mandatory for everyone who is elected or voted on or nominated, like whoever makes it onto council should have to attend those meetings of training. And that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, so I guess there is a motion here for the recommendation, but that is council's discretion on what should the penalty be. The recommendation was 30 days of suspension of pay. We can it's up to council's discretion. If council wants, I would suggest 15 days or 14 days, 2 weeks, if that's something that council's interested, but if there's any other thoughts on it.
Yeah, I kind of be able to go along with that. Yeah, because I went through this and I didn't do nothing deliberately to cause, but I get charged. And I'm pretty sure that night that she was out of order, but I get a motion to and let it all out. And just so happened that it was about taxpayers. And then I think she learned her lesson that she got to watch what she says when the taxpayers here and about taxpayers. because they're our boss. They pay the bills. I learned a lesson. I gotta watch that day. I don't know. I get emotion even the other day with Belinda, but I'll speak on that when I come to that 6H.
Well, we have to do it, so if you're proposing 14 days, then I'll second that and get this over with.
So there's just a, this is just to accept the report. So Councillor McDonald, can I get a first on that? And Councillor Despatie, a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Despatie. Be it resolved, the council accepts as presented the minutes and reports item number 6C, Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report / Decision, contravention of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's Code of Conduct complaint regarding Councillor Brigitte Gingras. All in favor? And that carries. So here is the next one. This is for the penalty. So if council is in agreement, I'll read it out as 14 days if that suits everyone.
Fine.
Yes, good with me.
So Councillor Despatie first.
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier, would you second that?
Yes.
Moved by Councillor, this is a long one, so bear with me. Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor Bourrier, whereas a request for the Integrity Commissioner was made alleging that Councillor Gingras contravened the Township of Code of Conduct. And whereas an inquiry was conducted by the Integrity Commissioner in a response to the report and into the request, and a report was presented to Council on June 13th, 2022. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner found Councillor Gingras did violate section 6.1 of the Township's Code of Conduct, which states every member shall conduct himself or herself properly in a civil and respectful manner at meetings. When she did make an unknowingly false and potential embarrassing comments towards an ALPG executive at the November 8th, 2021 council meeting. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner found Councillor Gingras did violate section 6.2 of the Code of Conduct, which states members will respect the decision-making process. Members will attempt to accurately and adequately communicate the attitudes and decisions of council, even when they disagree with the majority decision of council, when she spoke against a decision of council. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner found Councillor Gingras contravened the Township Council proceeding bylaws, section 18.1 and 30.5, when she pursued a subject not currently under debate, and when she refused to support a council decision once it was made. Whereas council has considered the findings and recommendations of the Integrity Commissioner, and therefore be it resolved, the council suspends Councillor Gingras' remuneration for a period of 14 days for her contravention of the Township's Code of Conduct. And further that, council directs that a mandatory training session be required following the fall election concerning the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, the Code of Conduct, the council proceedings bylaw for elected members and senior administration staff. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you.
Can I wait again now, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, we're. Okay, we'll move on to 6D, CEO's report number 2022-23 regarding restricted acts of council after nomination day, lame duck provisions. So this is a bylaw that, or the report that Belinda had given us, if there's any comments on that. Or questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
I'm a little confused, this lame duck, what, can you explain that a little better?
Yeah, so if 4 out of the 5 members put their name in to run for the next election, council would be able to proceed as usual after the nomination day. But if there is not 4 out of the 5 members that have put their name up for nomination, then we have to, according to the Municipal Act of Ontario, we have to go into this lame duck provision, which basically it restricts council's abilities for 2 months, right, during the election period. And in that way, the office would have the opportunity to do anything if anything arose that council can't do. Councillor Bourrier.
Just to help clarify a little bit, there were points here. It said you can't remove an officer from any office. Hiring or firing can't be done. And then there's 2 different things where you can't make decisions with expenditures or liabilities up to $50,000. So it's just basically like the big things. No hiring and firing, and no big spending. Thank you.
Is there any other questions, or if the CEO, if you want to add, if there's anything to add?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, Councillor Bourrier explained it very well. These are big decisions, and I really don't foresee anything coming up that we would require, if the bylaw was passed, me to act on it. Because if also you can make expenditures if it's already included in the approved budget. So as far as I see, everything that we have planned to go on is included in the budget. It would just be if something unexpected happened that, you know, for example, a big piece of equipment broke down or something like that, I guess. But I don't foresee me having to use any of those delegated acts of authority. But it's just there just in case. But I don't believe this council has gone into that type of a period in a long time. There's always been, you know, sorry, I don't know how to say it properly, but just generally the councillors have stayed the same over the past many years. So I don't think you've been in this situation before.
No, I never heard tell it to now.
As long as it's the incumbents, we're the incumbents if we're on the ballot, and we're usually always on the ballot, you're right. So, you're maybe not.
But it is a provision that should have been put into place every election. Unfortunately, it just never was, or no one felt it needed to be. So.
Question, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
So are we gonna have to pass this every 4 years? Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead. Yeah.
The municipal act does suggest that it would be good housekeeping to have that done every election year, just in case.
Well, it's gotta be done, it's gotta be done.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on to passing it. Councillor Gingras first on that.
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier second. Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Bourrier. Resolved that the CEO's report number 2022-23 be received for information. And further that 3 readings of the delegation of authority bylaw 2022-18 be undertaken to delegate authority to the CEO with respect to the actions set out in the Municipal Act 2001, section 275, subsection 3, during the period of which council may be restricted from certain acts as set out in section 275 of the Municipal Act. And further that the inaugural meeting for council be adjusted to Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. All in favor? And that carries. Okay, we'll move now to 6E. CEO's report regarding the submissions for Integrity Commissioner Services. We received one submission, and it is the company that we are currently using. That so I'll get council's thoughts on that. I'll get council's thoughts on that. Councillor McDonald.
Yes. When I look at it, when I look at this, we're stuck. But I mean, I would like to have some kind of something in place where the just integrity commissioner looks after cases. I don't think that they should do our bylaws. They own the bylaw when they do our bylaws. It says right in there that we can't reproduce it or nothing. And I think that our clerk is qualified enough to do our own bylaws and our own procedures. And I don't know how they've come in place to even start doing that. I don't know. Didn't go through council, I don't think. All of a sudden we get a bylaw stating that they written it out. I know that Council Gingras brought it up a few times that night that they did. And I was confused too, you know, did the council hired her or how did they get to do the bylaws?
So the Integrity Commissioner Services were completely a different contract than the bylaw contract, and that bylaw contract went through council, I want to say a year and a half, 2 years ago now. And council had decided that we were going to hire them for some human resource bylaws. And then if you recall, we had a delegation a few months ago, and he was discussing those bylaws that they were developing for us. So the Integrity Commissioner stuff and the bylaw stuff are two different contracts, even though it's the same company.
That other contract you're talking about, that's when we had to pay $4,000 to them if they had 10 communities that come in.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
As a council now, can we drop that now that we don't need their service anymore?
Well, it's up to council's discretion whether we pass those bylaws, but we've paid for them, or we've paid a partial amount for them. The CEO would have to refresh my memory on the amount, but we prepaid for them to present us with these draft bylaws. So it is council's discretion whether we want to pass those bylaws or not, but they're already in part paid for.
So they'd be coming to the table more sooner.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
Make that decision at that time, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's the 6J tonight updates human resource bylaws. I think that is some of the E4M bylaws, if I'm not mistaken.
I just like to have a bylaw that the township owns. Because you know, they said we can't reproduce it or nothing at all. If it's ours, well, then we can do what we want with it. But I don't know if that's the rest of them feels that way or not.
So yeah, we can discuss that when we get to 6J. This is for 6E for just the Integrity Commissioner Services, because we did put out a call for it, and that was the only company that called back, right? So if there's any thoughts on that? Councillor Gingras?
Yes, Mr. Chair, regarding the Integrity Commissioner, I would like to, in my opinion, reject the proposal and reissue the RFP. That's how I'm feeling as I'm sitting here right now. Is I'd like to see someone else tell us what they could do and what the cost would be. Like, I just feel like we're really stuck by not getting any proposals. Maybe we should advertise it a different way. I'm not sure if I can, maybe through you, Mr. Chair. I think that we just gave out the RFPs to the integrity commissioners in the area, if I'm not mistaken, that do services in neighboring communities. So maybe we should go further than that. And that was my thought. Or maybe the ones that we sent it to might reconsider. Anyway, for now, that's my thoughts, but I'm okay, whatever council decides, I will support.
Councillor McDonald?
Yes, I agree with Councillor Gingras that I agree that we should go further with this. And I think we'll, if we do push it a little bit back, we'll come up top.
Councillor Boyer?
I have a question, I guess that probably Belinda would be able to answer, is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
In order to be compliant with the province, we have to have an integrity commissioner. How long are they still employed by us at this point? So us putting this off is not leaving us out without being.
Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
You're right. We haven't given them notice that we would be discontinuing their services. They have asked for 3 months. So we're still in compliance. So it's definitely an option. It was in the RFP that we did not necessarily have to accept any offers. So certainly an option. We could go forward and advertise it in a bigger way. It was sent, like Councillor Gingras mentioned, to many of the integrity commissioners that service municipalities in the north. And unfortunately, just no takers.
It goes to tell me they're busy. I think the government should be ashamed of themselves to put that on little communities like ours. We got along fine without that integrity commissioner. Without this, not that I care, you know, if I did wrong, they can charge me. That don't bother me because I faithfully think I did nothing wrong the last time, other than maybe voice my opinion a little bit too much once. But the first 15 years on council, I enjoyed it. We had our arguments, we had our debates, and we always end the meeting at, you know, friends. And the government is pushing this on little communities and we can't afford it.
Councillor Gingras?
I think just to add to Councillor McDonald, I've always felt, and I still feel, that the bigger issue is there's no oversight on integrity commissioners. And I know I've said this before, but that's something I think as a council we can pursue through AMO or FEDNOR or sorry, FENOM. Because if you have someone that's going to investigate you, they have to be accountable to somebody. And if there's no oversight, then they're really not accountable to anybody. And so, I don't know, I would like to send a motion that council supports to the province saying we need oversight on integrity commissioners. They want us to have the service. They're legislating us to do that, yet there's no oversight to make them accountable. And anyway, that was just an extra thought on the integrity commissioner process. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement that we'll reject this proposal and repost the RFP. So if that's council's wishes, I'm just going to have to alter the motion a little bit here.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead.
maybe while you're writing that, if I could through you ask the CAO, in a report, she noted that Mr. Swayze and Mr. King both declined, as one of them was that is limited clients, the other one isn't going to offer those services anymore. I was wondering if any of the others made a comment and if we're allowed to know their reason for not submitting.
Yeah, CAO.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I did receive acknowledgement of the RFPs when I sent them the request to their email. None of the other ones unfortunately did give a reply why they wouldn't. Sorry, I don't have any more information.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, so we'll move to pass the motion here. Councillor McDonald, the first.
Yes.
Councillor Bourrier, second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Bourrier, whereas the CAO's report number 2022-24 has been received for information purposes. And further that council acknowledges the proposal received from expertise for municipalities for the Integrity Commissioner services. And further that council rejects the proposal from E4M. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs the CAO to put out a new RFP for Integrity Commissioner services. All in favor? And that carries. Okay, we'll move on to 6F, the green stream funding. This is just to approve the transfer payment. So Councillor Gingras first. And Councillor Despatie, a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Despatie, whereas the CEO's report number 2022-25 has been received for information purposes. And therefore be it resolved that council directs the mayor and clerk to enact bylaw number 2022-19 on July 11th to execute the transfer payment agreement in the Investing in Canada's Infrastructure Green Stream funding for the rehabilitation of the Nairn Centre Water Treatment Plant. All in favor? And that carries. So we'll move on to 6G. This is to accept the retirement of Mr. Wayne Ashton. Councillor Bourrier first.
Yes.
Councillor Gingras, second. Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor Gingras. Resolved that council receives the CEO's report number 2022-26 for information purposes. And further that council accepts the resignation of Wayne Ashton as the Township of Nairn and Hyman's Community Emergency Management Coordinator with regret and extends their thanks for his many years of service. All in favor? Carried. So
Oh, there we go.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just said moving to 6H regarding municipal office closure CEO's bylaw July 12th. Is there any comments on that?
Yes.
Councillor McDonald.
To you, to the CEO. When I came into the office the other day there, I was emotional. I'm a counselor, and when taxpayer calls me and I don't know how to answer a question with it, why the office was closed. All it takes, Mr. Chair, to call me or call all counselors and say, look, we're closing the office for that day and the reason, and I probably would have went along with it, but to me, I'm left out in the dark. And when I had 3 calls that morning and I was busy at home, but finally I said, I'm gonna come over and see why we're closing it. And I don't know if, I can't remember how I acted, but I was disappointed that we're closing the office and I didn't know about it. You know, I like to know the information before, when a taxpayer calls me and tells me things. I like to know it. All it takes, a phone call to me. I don't care when it is. Yeah, and if I'm not home, just leave a message. And I probably would, I don't like closing the office to start with. And I like to understand that there is times that we have to close it. But the one time there, when I was off 2017, 18, where in your report, you said you closed the office 8 to 9 times. I find that hard to, I wasn't on council, that was 2 years, but you know, like the CEO, like this committee that she's on there now, through you to her, is that the Lacrosse Hill Committee? Or is
That was, yes.
Hill, is that a committee, or is that the same committee?
I'll get the CEO to answer that one.
Yes, thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, that was through the Lacrosse Municipal Association. So this economic development officer will be working for all 4 of our municipalities. So as our municipality will be partially employing her, it would be very important for our municipality that someone from the administration staff sat on the interviews, so that we're getting the right person, the right fit for our communities.
That's it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I just, I knew about it. Was it on Facebook? Was it on our Facebook page, Mr. Mayor? May I ask the CAO?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was that not on our Facebook page?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. It was on our Facebook page.
Okay.
We put it on the app as well, and we
Right.
put it on our website.
So because I knew, but I couldn't remember how I knew, but it was on the Facebook page, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, that's my problem also. Even tonight, I lost my computer. I'm not good at Facebooks. It's just a quick phone call. That's all I want. Any little thing goes on. This is my town. I lived here all my life, and I enjoy being a counselor, but I enjoy it when I know what's going on. If there's some way we can get together where we know what's going on in that office, you know, I think that's important in closing the office. I know the former mayor, he used to call me up and say, look, what do you think about this and that? And we agree, and he calls the next counselor. But I'm not criticizing you, Mr. Chair, but you're the chair, you're the mayor. And when I always said, when staff gives you information, either up to her to give it to all of us, or you give it to us. That's all I've asked over the years. In the last 2 years, we haven't been getting that. The communication it's got to be a lot better.
Duly noted, Counselor. Duly noted. I will put that in my back pocket for next time for sure.
Thank you.
Counselor Bourrier.
Just wanted to say that I got it on my town app on my phone, the message that the township would be closed.
Counselor DePetty.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment regarding Councillor McDonald's wishes. We have to remember, we're only counselors here. We don't run the show. And if we don't know something, let's call the CAO and find out. It's not the end of the world. I've only been a counselor for a short time. When I don't know something or want to know something, I call the CAO and I get an answer like that. I called her this morning. I wanted to know about a rezoning issue. She had all the answers for me. And I never rose my voice to her at all. I don't think it's necessary. And sometimes we're not the boss. We're just part of we're a cog in the wheel. So maybe
We work with the taxpayers. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Staff and council can work a little better, more communication. It would make my job much easier.
Well,
Okay,
you need to know something, call her.
Yeah, but I didn't know the code.
counselors, thank you. We'll move on and we'll pass this motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so Counselor Bourrier, can we pass the motion? First on the closing of the office motion,
Yes.
and Counselor Gingras, second.
Yes.
Moved by Counselor Bourrier, second by Counselor Gingras, resolved that Council receives the CEO's report number 2022-27 for information, and further that the mayor and CEO are authorized to close the municipal office in extenuating circumstances. All in favor? Carried. And I did want to note that it wasn't brought up in the discussion, but Belinda had put a thought about possibly hiring a casual administrative assistant. I don't want to. I don't want to open the floor for that discussion right now, but it is something to think about possibly down the road. Yeah, Councilor.
I don't agree with hiring somebody right now. I lost my little train of thought. Give me that here. You know, hiring somebody. If we're planning on hiring somebody down the road, I feel that we should have somebody to come in that know, what do you call those people? Consultants, yeah, to come in and see how busy they are. Because I know I come in the last 2 or 3 times and Belinda kept saying how busy she is, but I don't know how busy she is. And I hate spending money on consultants, but I mean, before I hired any more employees, I would like to know.
Yeah, all I said was
The town changed, and we had 2 in the office for years.
yeah, all I said was that I just wanted to note that in the report. Councilor Dupaty.
The community hasn't changed, but the government workings have changed. You need, and a perfect example is this gentleman we hired today. It's paperwork and machinery that has to be maintained that our CAO has to deal with.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Councilor Bourrier.
for many years, our CAO, Mr. Duchesne, had 2 staff in that office working for him for years and years.
That's
That was
correct.
years ago, and it was way less busy then than it is now.
He had 2 part-time.
Okay, so we'll move on now to, let me just go back to my agenda. We'll move on to the animal draft bylaw. This is just to direct that the bylaw be presented at the next meeting. So Councillor McDonald, the first. Councillor Despatie, a second. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie, resolved that Council receives the CEO's report number 2022-28 for information purposes, and further that Council directs the draft animal control bylaw be presented to Council for enactment at the next Council meeting. All in favor? And that carries. Awesome. Okay, we'll now move on to 6J, update to human resource bylaw and policies. Is there any comments on that? I do have a motion here to pass the bylaws, but if there's any comments, I will hear them, but if not, we'll pass the motion. Councillor Gingras.
A quick question, Mr. Chair, or maybe through you to Belinda. Is this all of the bylaws that this company was developing for us, or are there still more to come?
CAO.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. There is still the guidelines that, that give the management guidelines to enact the policies that are included in the bylaw. Those are almost complete. They will not be made part of the bylaw. They'll be part of the guidebook of how to enact the human resources policy. So those will be, I will definitely circulate those to council as soon as they're finished. They're almost done. There is one more bylaw coming, and that will be the, apologize, I don't have it right at my fingertips. It's basically the updated harassment and violence in the workplace bylaw. That one's on its way. You may have noticed in the bylaw numbering that there's actually, it looks like there's one missing.
Mhm.
So that's a placeholder for
Oh,
that
okay.
bylaw. It's on its way.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Belinda.
Any other comments on these?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Councillor Gingras.
One more point. Probably being nitpicky, but whatever. I just wanted to ensure, Mr. Chair, when these bylaws are finished and they're in the form of a bylaw with a number and it's at its third reading and it sits in our bylaw book, will E4M or Wishart's logo and name be on our bylaws?
I'll direct that question to the CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This one, if you notice in the preamble, it does mention that it was developed by them, but they won't have their logo on it.
Okay.
There was a note that I asked them what happens if we have to change something. She had told me that we would have to have our own legal review of it since this has already been legally reviewed. So if we want to take out a section or change a section, we would just have to have that reviewed down the road that Wishart would no longer back up that part of the bylaw if there was ever a legal, someone contesting it legally. But to answer your question, no, their logos won't be on.
Okay. And sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yep, go ahead, continue.
Just for a bit of clarification through you, Mr. Chair. Belinda, will their, because their names are attached to it, are they held liable? Oh, they are. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Good to know. Thank you, Belinda.
any other comments on those? If not, I'll get Councillor Gingras first on that.
Yes.
And Councillor Bourrier second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Bourrier. Be it resolved, the council receives the CEO's report number 2022-29 for information purposes. And further that council directs the mayor and clerk to enact bylaw number 2022-16, being a bylaw to codify human resource recruitment and management policies. Be given 3 readings of the bylaw on July 11th, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so we'll move on to the municipal superintendent's report 6K. I do have a motion on that, and that is for the garbage and recycling, or just the recycling, mind you, at Sand Bay Camp. So we do have to make a decision on that, or we can move it to the next meeting, but I'll just get council's thoughts on that if there is any. Councillor McDonald.
Yes. I can remember when we started working with the Sand Bay Camp, because that's the time that we were going to recycle in our landfill site, and we got into a mess. And we spent over $7,000 on these containers, and Sudbury, greater city of Sudbury, was supposed to take our recyclable, and then after we fill these containers up, they refused to take them. And then Espanola recycler, he thought that they were too mixed up. He didn't want them either, so we had to hire the students for a week. I think it was a week or so to take everything out and sort them out, and we had to pay Espanola Recyclable to have the containers there for a week to sort them all out. And it was, well, I think it was, I know it was over 7,000 in the way that, and I don't know how we got to San Bay, how they approach us, or we approach him or what, but to me, he's been doing a good job. And and I would think that we should approach him before we make any decision to drop him, because he did a good job. And I had never heard a complaint from, but now Derek said somebody, he had some complaints that the opening wasn't big enough for some plastics and different things like that. But I think that the town should contact Mr. Woodley and get his opinion of it. And I know it's a little bit more from him, but he helped us out at that time. He took over, and we had no problems now. Other than Derek said he had a few complaints about it. I don't know what, I didn't read that. The two containers, too big plastic, can't get in the container. And then, oh yeah, sometime when it's full, I understand, I don't know. He said at one time I went up there and I talked to him about, he said that when they're full, they take the container to Blind River, and then there's no container there for those 2 or 3 hours they went to the Blind River. He said, that's the other, I didn't talk to him like last year, this was years ago. And that's how he was doing it. He said, when it's full, they have to take the Blind River. I don't know, maybe they don't have to take the Blind River now, I don't know. But I think that town should, the superintendent should go and talk to Warner anyway. I wouldn't want to just take it away from him without him knowing, because I think he did a good job.
Yeah, so, yeah, Councillor Gingras.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with Councillor McDonald that I would hate to lose Sand Bay Camp as a little recycling depot for them. Maybe I'm thinking too large on this, but I wouldn't mind continuing to have them at Sand Bay. Definitely folks use them, but I would also like to suggest that we do have a bin at the landfill also, just in case somebody, you know, like Warner's are full and someone is coming down anyway. Like, I think being a waste management site, and we're one of the few towns that owns our own landfill, I think we should have recycling capabilities at our landfill also, in conjunction with Sand Bay. So that's my thoughts on that right now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Despatie.
I'd just like to address Councillor Gingras. I bring my plastics to our dump, our dump. I bring my plastics there. They recycle them there,
Well,
or take them somewhere.
yeah, like I think, well, sorry, Mr. Chair, at the dump, we have
Go ahead.
plastic, we have wood, we have metal, like that's how the dump is laid out by our employees. So if you bring something plastic, for sure, it would go into plastic.
My
containers.
plastic containers are
Yes.
in clear bags, and I'm directed to put it directly into one of those sea cans.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're taken, I thought he told me they were taken to Espanola, but I could be mistaken there.
Councillor Boyer. Go ahead.
The Sand Bay Camp, they're coming home, going home when the dump isn't open? So
No.
those sea cans are inside for just people like yourselves, but the one would be outside so that they can access it on their way home, right? Did I say that right?
I think so.
They have it. If we were to get a can, it would be outside the gate, not inside.
Me, Sarah now.
The sea can inside.
It's inside.
Oh, I've been up there for a while.
So I guess, yeah, so the two motions read that one, that we do not renew the contract with Sand Bay Camp, or the next one is that we defer it to the next meeting and we discuss it then. So I think I think that's the way that council feels to go to the next meeting, if that's fair. Like Councillor Boyer?
I would really like to look into having one then, like Rick suggested after the.
Okay.
That'd be another $3,000. would you say?
No, that's for two. So we can see what it would be for one. Two then.
So we'll, yeah, go ahead, CEO.
Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, we'd have to have two. One would be plastics and one would be commingled paper and fiber. So that's
Something to discuss next meeting, I guess. So Councillor Despatie, can I get a first?
Yes.
Councillor McDonald, a second. Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald, resolved that council accepts the superintendent's report dated July 5th, 2022. And further that council defers the decision to amend the location of the recycling depot and the contract until next council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Okay, this is just to note the correspondences as being received. Councillor Gingras first. Councillor Boyer, a second. Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Boyer. Resolved that council notes the correspondence item 6A to C is received. All in favor? Carried. And is there any comments on the correspondences we received? I think A and B we've dealt with, but is there any comments on any of the other ones? Councillor Gingras.
Yes, Mr. Chair, on number C, Amy Maisie's, it's a shame she left, but that's okay. Regarding down at the beach, that's a horrible experience that she went through. And I'm just wondering if, see, for me, we never should have opened up that trail. But anyway, it's open now. But I'm suggesting that we maybe do put a camera down there, but also call our local police and have them, now that it's summer, do a few more visual go-arounds down there. You know, on a Friday or Saturday night or something like that, when possibly they might be there, or on the hot sunny days is probably when they're there also. So that was my thoughts on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor McDonald, I believe you had your hand up.
She more or less covered it for me, but it's a shame that that beautiful beach like that, that we have to put up with that. We used to have a big rock there. I don't know, those squads can get any place. I think it's pretty hard to stop them from getting down there, but I mean, that's the disgrace, beautiful beach like that.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other comments on the correspondences, we'll move to motions. 8A, City of Brantford. Councillor Despatie first.
Yes.
Councillor McDonald, a second. Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald, that the council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorses and supports the resolution of the City of Brantford, calling on the government of Canada, the government of Ontario, and the Anglican Church to release all documents related to the former Mohawk Institute Residential School, and that a copy of this motion be sent to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Premier Doug Ford, the Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, Mark Miller, Minister of Indigenous Affairs, Patty Hajdu, Minister of Indigenous Affairs, Greg Rickford, Primate of the Anglican Church of Canada, Linda Nichols, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, the Association of Ontario Municipalities, and the City of Brantford. All in favor? Carried. So 8B, Councillor McDonald, can I get a first? Councillor Despatie, a second. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorses and supports the resolution of the Municipality of Brighton, calling on the Solicitor General, the Commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police, and the Premier's Office to create a new alert called the Draven Alert to protect vulnerable children who have not been abducted but are clearly at a high risk of danger, injury, or death, and alert the public that they are missing. And that a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier Doug Ford, the Office of the Solicitor General, the Commissioner of the Ontario Provincial Police, AMO, and the Municipality of Brighton. All in favor? Carried. Okay, 6C, Town of Matachewan. Councillor Bourrier first,
Yes.
Councillor Gingras second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor Gingras, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorses the resolution of the Township of Matachewan expressing its support for the inclusion of mailing address on the voters list be provided to the candidates, and a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier Doug Ford, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and the Township of Matachewan. All in favor? Motion carries. And the last one, City of Owen Sound. Councillor Gingras first. Councillor Bourrier second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Bourrier, that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorses and supports the resolution of the City of Owen Sound requesting the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing study the merits of allowing the recall of municipal councillors under carefully prescribed circumstances, such as displays of hatred, misogyny, and all forms of discrimination, and that the ministry facilitate a strengthened program of orientation and training sessions for councils, local boards, and committees, and that a copy of this motion be sent to Premier Doug Ford, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, AMO, and the City of Owen Sound. All in favor? And that carries. Councillor Despatie first.
Lost you, sorry.
Oh. Okay, so I said, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So 9A, this is to pass the bylaw. Councillor Despatie first. Councillor McDonald, the second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald, that being a bylaw to codify human resource recruitment and management policies be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-16. All in favor? Carried. This is the after nomination day bylaw. So Councillor Gingras first. Councillor Bourrier second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Bourrier, that being a bylaw to authorize the Chief Administrative Officer of Nairn and Hyman to take action when necessary on certain acts during the restricted acts after nomination day, lame duck period, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-18. All in favor? Carried. And the last one, this is just for the grant. Councillor McDonald, the first. Councillor Despatie, a second.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Despatie, that being a bylaw of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman to enter into an agreement with Her Majesty the Queen in right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure in the province of Ontario and the Corporation and Township of Nairn and Hyman be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-19. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to the for information item. Councillor Bourrier, can I get a first? Councillor Gingras, a second.
Yes.
Moved by Councillor Bourrier, second by Councillor Gingras, that resolved that the for information items 10A be noted as received. All in favor? Carried. And the confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Despatie first,
Yes.
Councillor McDonald the second. Moved by Councillor Despatie, second by Councillor McDonald, that being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings to the Council of the Corporation of Township of Nairn and Hyman be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council, and its number shall be 2022-20. All in favor? Carried. And the last one, the closing, Councillor Gingras first. Councillor
You quit.
there we go.
There we go, you're back.
Oh,
I'm back. So moved by Councillor Gingras, second by Councillor Bourrier, that the meeting of July 11th, 2022 do now adjourn at 8:34 p.m. and to meet again on the 12th day of September or at the call of the mayor. All in favor? And that carries. Thank you, everyone. That's it.